I woke up today craving some Spanish food. So what we got today is a carne con papas recipe. Now if you take a quick look at the cilantro, it's sitting in some water. It looks like it's still in the ground fresh. That is 4-day-old cilantro. Anyways, back to the carne con papas. Get yourself a skillet, set your stove on medium high to about a 7, and let's get started here on Cook! Don't be lazy! So once your skillet feels nice and hot, we're going to be using a pound of ground beef. Break it up, stir it up, seasoned salt, we're going to eyeball it. About a good 2 tablespoons. Garlic powder, same thing, eyeball it. A good tablespoon or so. Now, these 2 seasonings are going to be to taste regardless, so if we don't add enough now, we can always add more later when we're tasting the soup. Because this basically is kind of like a soup. So get this partially browned, stirring occasionally, and we'll wait for the next step. So what we're looking for is about a 50-50 mixture, halfway cooked, 50% pink, 50% brown. At that point, cut up an onion, dice it up. We want about half a small onion in here. Stir it in. And we're going to cook it just about all the way through before we move on to the next step. Now when you see very little pink, meaning it's pretty much 98% cooked, go ahead and throw in your papas, your potatoes. Get a can of diced tomatoes. Use that same can, fill it up with water. And we're going to do pretty much a 50-50 mixture. So fill this guy up with water, throw it in here. Let's stir it up, and let's see how it looks. So we want this, it's looking watery, but the solution isn't to use less water because we're going to let this simmer for a while. So some of that's going to evaporate away. So the solution, it looks like, is I'm going to actually use a little bit more tomato. I had some off to the side just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to use half a can of tomato sauce. This is 4-ounce can. Slowly stir this in. I think my skillet, is this even called a skillet? My pan, my skillet is just perfect. Actually, not necessarily perfect. I wish it was just a little bit bigger because I'm a little worried about spillage. But we should be able to make do with this amount. Alright. Some chicken bouillon. Powder kind. I'm going to eyeball it. 1, 2, and kind of like a half. Get that mixed in. It's already smelling real good, guys. Chop up some cilantro. Nice handful. Once you've stirred everything in, cover it up, drop your temperature to about a 2, and we're gonna let this simmer for about 25 to 35 minutes. If you cut your potato pieces smaller, it should take about 25 minutes for those potatoes to be nice and tender. If you cut the pieces larger, wait towards maybe the 35-minute mark. At the 25-minute mark, either which way, stick a knife in it, stick a fork in it, check for doneness. In the meantime, I had rice in that section of ingredients. That's exactly what I'm going to be working on next as my side dish for this real easy recipe. After that, time to plate up. Carne con papas. Man, that was a little too easy to make. I'm gonna go num 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 num. So I'll see you guys next week here on Cook. Don't be lazy.